Hello and welcome again to another video. And today's video we'll be talking about the top teams in the Great League Remix. This is an updated version because the first one had a couple mistakes, and as I was in New York doing golf, so I couldn't fix it. So in today's video we will be reviewing, since we have another week of Remix Cup, so we will be reviewing the new best teams for Remix. So like looking at the Remix, if you guys played it, Gligar is just everywhere. Polyrath is back thanks to Home Slice Henry, okay, bringing back Polyrath. Steelix is everywhere. Ferrathon is decent and it's everywhere because it has a play against everything. Carbink is everywhere. And I saw someone like raging on Twitter is like, why every team is either the triple weak to Carbink or has 3 hard counters to Carbink? I guess people just don't want to lose to a fairy version of Bastiodon. Empoleon is being too good. Empoleon is actually straight like OP, okay? Just avoid the Polyrath and the Ferrathon. And avoid everything with counter and just have it against the Carbink, I guess. So in this video I'm not going to go through like details about the cup, but we're just going to mention the team, so probably expect this video to be like 8 to 10 minutes. Anything here worth mentioning? I don't think so. I think we talked about like Mandibuzz, Mantine. Those are just extremely good because they beat Gligar and they kind of destroy the Polyrath. And I mean, Mandy needs Air Slash to beat Polyrath. It's kind of a scuffed matchup. Steelix is kind of great against both. And yeah, let's go and talk about the top teams. So the best Pokemons on PvPoke are still Carbink, Reggie, Quag, Gligar, Mantine, Steelix, Shadow. The non-Shadow is actually better in this swap. I prefer the Shadow, to be honest. Just because I can hit hard and I don't fall asleep while using Steelix. So I myself like more hard-hitting Pokemons like from the fast move. Except that Shadowvic, I don't use Shadowvic. Steelix, Mandibuzz, Guzzlord. My Guzzlord is not as good just because Steelix is everywhere and Steelix just makes like Steelix put Guzzlord in shambles. The best team is still, I think, Carbink, Serperior, and the Gligar. The problem with this team is you kind of like struggle a lot against stuff like Polyrath with shields. And the opposing Gligar is just extremely tough to beat. But that's why we don't see like, okay, usually we don't recommend the best team according to PvPoke, because the best team is supposed to beat every team. Like the top 3 PvPoke team, which is like something we do in the channel, always talk about Carbink, Reggie, and Quag. Still very weak to Gligar. So that's why we don't recommend either. But what do you recommend, Yasser? Well, Steelix, Ferrathon with Mantine is something I do recommend, and the problem with this team is one Pokemon, and the name of that Pokemon is Typhlosion. So if you don't see Typhlosion, I recommend running this team, Steelix, Mantine, Pharaoh, by Queen Kaya, and I think it's a Comb Viper team basically. And there is a video on the channel, the best team in Great League Remix. Try this team in the Great League Remix Cup. Feed Queen Kaya 25. So if you don't see Typhlosion, this team is actually insanely good, okay? Another form of this team, well, it's not another form, it's kind of different form. If you want to run Gligar, you kind of need 2 answers to Mantine. So I do recommend having, well, I think this is Matbeer team from last season. And Jellicent is kind of like people don't respect it as much, even though it has a great play into Steelix, Mantine, and Polyrath, and the Gligar. So if you feel like people using these Pokemons a lot, just use Jellicent and throw a Steelix and a Gligar with it, and you should be in a good spot. Like this team used to struggle last season against Dugong in the back, but Dugong is banned and he no longer exists. The BBML, which is like the thing you always expect, I think it's Ferrathon double Flyards, one of the Flyards being Mantine, just so you can have a very hard answer to the Polyrath. Another good team that I do like, but I don't think it's as good, it's Quag, Mantine, and the Gligar. The problem with Quag is that Ferrathon is now everywhere, and if you run this team, you queue into a Ferrathon in the lead, they will just put you in a very, very like uncomfortable situation, which you don't wish to be. Like you're good into Gligar with this team, but you're kind of kind of worse into Ferratum. But you do great against the Steelix. You technically have 3 Pokemons that don't mind Steelix, one of them being a hard answer to Steelix. Poliwrath in the lead is kind of annoying because you have to swap out, and if you swap out to Gligar, they will just stay in and shield your move, debuff you with an Icy Wind, and then they will go to their own Gligar. So it's kind of annoying, and that's why I do recommend now abusing Poliwrath. Poliwrath is actually criminally underrated. Well, I don't think it was underrated in the Remix Cup until like a couple people hit Legend with it, including Home Slice Henry. And if you want to run Poliwrath, you kind of need the Steelix and Mantine with it. The problem with it is kind of weak to stuff like Shadow Grumble. But the thing is, like, Steelix wouldn't mind it. Yes, Steelix can get to 2 moves against fairies, so it wouldn't be that huge of an issue. And that's where, like, the next team comes from. Okay, A9 with Gudra. You might be thinking that this team is weak to Steelix, but remember that we have Typhlosion, Incinerate does a lot, and A9 can actually beat a Steelix, like it's a fairy that beats the Steel. Yes, because Steelix has a Dragon Tail, right? If you don't have a Gudra, you could just run Dragonite, but Dragonite loves to have Empoleon. Like, they kind of go together, those two, like in Great League and Ultra League nowadays. If you want to run this, you have to have this, just for like extra like fast move pressure, because Shadow with Empoleon, I don't like the non-Shadow. I much prefer the Shadow one. But if I would recommend a team for everyone at every rank to play, I would recommend the Gligar, double Steel, one of them being a fake Steel, which is Carbink. Carbink is a Rock type. Rock type is a fake Steel type. It's a bad Steel type, like, let's just say it that way. Now, I know some people will be like, comment like, no, Rock is totally different. No, they are weak to the same stuff that Steel is weak to, which is fighting and the ground. Okay, you can add more weaknesses to that, so technically Rock is just a bad Steel type. That's how I see it. But Carbink is just insanely good of a Pokemon because of the massive bulk that it has, and if they swap into something like a Flyer, you just win the game with Carbink, because Carbink is just going to put them like farm them down and then just have a move ready to go on the next Pokemon. So it's just going to be like an insanely good of a situation. The double Flyers team is a team I do like. The problem with it is, like, you kind of struggle into Poliwrath, but it should be manageable, to be honest. But you could just replace Mandibuzz with actually Gligar and you should be in a better situation. There was a team from last season someone sent to me, and the team was just insane fast move pressure, which is Salazzle Double Dragon. There is actually a video on the channel by Twisted. It's very fun to see. Like, he was queuing into teams combined, teams that has A9, Steelix, Pharaoh, and Salazzle would literally just farm the 3 Pokemons all the way down. Like, there was, I think, 2 or 3 games. Twisted literally farmed down 3 Pokemons with Salazzle. Like, it was so fun to see, like, A9 dying to 3 Incinerates, Steelix dying to 4 or 5. A team that I do recommend, and it's easy to maneuver around. It's like just a crazy bulk, like an insane bulk and spam ability on every Pokemon here is being very, very spammy. Mantine with a Quag and Guzzlord. The Quag is just insanely good of a Pokemon. I love Guzzlord. I think you can run Steelix over Guzzlord. It's just safer. But yeah, Mantine, Quag, Steelix should be like a team that everyone can, I think, play around with. So that's pretty much it. I try to keep it as fast as possible. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. This is the end of the video. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Peace.